I wasn't out of the closet yet. I was in high school and I was playing on the club volleyball team. And every few weeks, the volleyball team would go on these weekend-long trips for tournaments. And every time we went on these trips, my friend Josh and I would room together. And as we went on more of these trips together, I started developing, quite the crush on Josh. I thought Josh was dreamy as fuck. He had, that shaggy surfer volleyball hair. He always wore, the shortest shorts that I thought were so cute. And he was really nice to me and, super funny all the time. But Josh always seemed super straight to me, so I didn't think anything would ever happen to us. Plus, I wasn't out of the closet yet, so as far as he knew, I liked girls. So when we went on these trips together, I was always super careful to not make my true feelings for Josh obvious. Which was honestly easier said than done, because Josh was a very flirtatious guy. He was clearly very comfortable with himself and confident, because when we would take showers together, he was the kind of guy that would smack guys' butts with towels afterwards. Or we'd go over to another guy's room at these tournaments and he would jump right into their bed with them and pretend to be cuddling. And he would always do stuff like this when it was just me in the room too. And I would always try really hard to not flirt back, because I didn't want him to think I was gay and I didn't want him to think I was hitting on him. So after a few of these trips, my crush on Josh was becoming quite overwhelming, to be honest. And I decided that I wanted to find out what would happen if I matched Josh's energy. So the volleyball team met up at 5 in the morning to drive down south to go to another volleyball tournament. I sat next to Josh on the bus. We drove down south and we competed in the first day of the tournament, and then it was time to go back to the hotel. Josh and I got our room and we had about 30 minutes to go get ready for dinner with the whole team. So I went in the bathroom and started showering. And one thing Josh would always do is come into the bathroom and try to jump into the shower with me as a joke. He'd be laughing and be like, "Come on, man, we shower together after practice. What's the big deal?" He was totally joking, right? And I'd always tell him to F off and laugh my ass off. So Josh comes into the bathroom, butt naked, and tries to get in the shower with me as a joke. But this time, I don't yell at him and tell him to get out. I'm just all right, come on in. Josh looked shocked. I really don't think he knew what to do with that. I think he felt I had called his bluff and he didn't know what to do. So to my surprise, he hopped in the shower with me. So now we're both taking a shower together and I'm losing my mind at how excited I am. Yeah, I've seen Josh naked before, but I've never seen him up close and personal in the same tiny little shower as me. Just the two of us. So honestly, I was just focusing on not getting fully excited. And Josh was still just being ridiculous. He was making jokes about dropping the soap and just being crazy. And I'm still just focusing on not getting fully excited while trying to laugh back at Josh's jokes. And then to my surprise, I look down and notice that Josh is the one getting a semi. Now, I didn't say anything, but Josh must have noticed that I noticed, because he got out of the shower immediately after that. And then we went out to dinner with the volleyball team. But the entire time we were at dinner, all I could think about now was wait, is Josh really straight? He had joking around before, but he had never taken it that far, and I'd never seen him start to get a semi before. So now I'm obsessing over what is going to happen when we get back to the room? Is Josh going to keep doing gay things as a joke, or is he going to be totally freaked out that he got excited and not do anything at all for the rest of the night? So fast forward to that night, and we were hanging out in one of the other guys' rooms, talking, shooting the shit, and then it was time for me and Josh to go back to our room and go to bed. So we get back to the room, and Josh is acting totally normal. Apparently it didn't faze him what happened in the shower, so we were both just getting ready for bed. So we brush our teeth, we hop into bed, we both have our boxers on. And honestly, at this point, I was freaking tired, but Josh did not seem tired at all. He was laughing, he was fucking around with me, he was being ridiculous. And the weird thing that he kept doing was he kept, trying to tickle me. It was in a way where he was, trying to annoy me. I was, rolling over and trying to go to bed, and then he'd, jab me in the side and start, tickling me and stuff like that. And every time I would start laughing my ass off, and I'd, roll over and start jabbing him back. And somehow that turned into Josh trying to take my boxers off, as a prank. And I was, shoving him off at first, telling him to stop, but laughing at the same time. And then I remembered, wait, I'm not going to tell him to stop. I'm just going to see what happens if I let Josh do his thing. So he tried to take my boxers off again, and this time I didn't tell him to stop. So I'm laying there, and he's pulling off my boxers, and he gets them, halfway down. My boxers are now around my thighs, and he's "Hey, are you going to try to get me to stop?" And I said something "If you really want him off, take him off." And he laughed and was "I'm not buying that." I think he thought that I was trying to do reverse psychology. And then he takes off my boxers all the way. So then I start fucking around with him and trying to take his off. And so I'm trying to pull Josh's boxers off, and he's pushing me back, trying to get me to stop. And I was teasing him like, come on, man, you took mine off. What are you, shy? You're not going to take yours off too? And he was like, no, I'm not just going to take them off. So I kept fucking with him and like pretty much wrestling, trying to get him off of him. And this was all like totally in a joking way. Like we're laughing our asses off while doing this, but I'm also really freaking excited. And like I said, still at full attention. So after a little more roughhousing, I finally got him off and I threw him across the room. So then Josh gets out of bed to go get his boxers that I threw across the room, and I was just staring at his tush. It was so freaking cute. Like, it was like firm, and he had such a big tan line, and when he bent over to pick up his boxers, I got a really good view. And then he ran back over to get into bed with me, but he didn't just get into the bed, he ripped the sheets off of the bed. I was literally shocked at this point. Like, I did not expect him to do that. And I was at full attention, so I was like humiliated. Josh noticed instantly and was like, whoa, man, and called me out for being at full attention, and then made some joke about like me being gay for him. And I like tried to defend myself and be like, no, like it's not about me being gay. Like it was just the way I like was moving in the sheets that somehow got me excited. And then I was like, dude, I noticed that you started to get excited in the shower earlier. Like, what, are you gay for me? He defended himself too, and we both kind of like acknowledged that that just happens and it's not really that we're into each other. So Josh got back into bed and we just kind of like laughed about that a little bit more and then just started chatting. And I really wanted to like try to take it further and cuddle with him or kiss him or do something. I don't know, just suck on something. But I was really nervous and I didn't have the balls to do it. But we did fall asleep without our boxers on. Like, we just didn't even mention the fact that we didn't put them back on and drifted off. And we were still going to share the room together the next night. So I was just like obsessing over what I was going to try to do with him the next night. And I decided that I was actually going to try to hit on him. So fast forward to that night, we all go out to dinner with the team, and then Josh and I get back to our hotel room. So I went and hopped in the shower, and I was hoping that Josh would like come try to mess with me and jump in the shower again like he did the first night, but he didn't. So then Josh went and took a shower, and when he came out of the shower, Josh was kind of like back to his usual goofy self. He took his towel off right in front of me and literally started like doing a helicopter with his thing as a joke. Obviously, I was mesmerized by this. Like, it literally could have been one of those like hypnosis spinning wheels. I watched that shit all day. But I was still really, really closeted. So even though I wanted to like hit on Josh, I was really nervous and I like looked away and told him to put it away. I was also laughing my ass off the entire time this was happening. So Josh put his boxers on, we both sat in bed next to each other and started watching TV. And immediately Josh was like fucking with me again. Like he was like jabbing me like he did the last night and trying to like tickle me. And I was trying to like build up the courage to make a move, but I really didn't know how to do it. Like I wanted to make a move in a way that like if Josh shot me down, I would be able to play it off like I was just joking and I wasn't really trying to do anything. So I started jabbing Josh back like I did the night before. So at this point, we're both like totally fucking with each other, laughing our asses off, like pretty much wrestling in the bed. Josh started like jokingly trying to take my boxers off again. And I was really fighting back and kept like pushing him off and stuff. And like as I'm pushing him, I kept touching his chest and honestly kept getting really excited. And then Josh was trying to like pin me down with his elbow so he could take my boxers off more easily. And then I overpowered him and flipped him over and like pinned him down with both his arms up above his head. So I'm literally like straddling him, pinning him down, and we both kind of paused at this point. We probably paused for like 2 seconds, but it honestly felt like a 10 or 20 second pause to me. And I kind of realized like, if I want to make a move, this is my chance. So we were laughing and he's pinned down and we're both looking at each other in the eyes and we both stopped laughing. And it felt to me like Josh had a look in his eyes, like there was a connection. So I just leaned in and kissed him. Josh kissed me back for like half a second and then shoved me off. He was like, what the hell, dude? Are you gay? I was literally panicking at this point. Like I felt like I just got caught, like outed. So I tried to play it off and I was like, no, I'm not gay. Like I was just fooling around. We talked about this for a second and Josh was not buying it. Like, he didn't believe that I was straight anymore. So I leveled with him and I told him like, I'm mainly into girls, but I can get excited about guys sometimes too. And then to my surprise, Josh was actually really cool about that. And he was like just talking to me about it casually. And then he started asking me like, what specifically I like about guys. And he wanted to know like, what would I want to do with a guy? So I told him like, you know, if I was with another guy, I just would want to get like handsy or something. And then really to my surprise, Josh just says I can go ahead and do that to him if I want to. I was honestly confused by this at first. And he was like, yeah, man, no big deal. Like, it's just a hand. I don't care. And of course, I wasn't going to pass up this opportunity. So I was like, okay, down. Sounds great. But I really couldn't figure out if Josh was just like actually letting me do this or if he was like also into guys and this was just his way of making it so he could still claim he was straight. I kind of assumed it was the latter, and in the moment, I didn't really care either way. I was just down to be able to do something with another guy. So I agreed, and Josh made me promise that I wouldn't tell anybody ever. So, you didn't hear this. And then Josh took off his boxers and laid back on the bed, and he just laid there and closed his eyes, I guess just waiting for me to do what I needed to do. And I don't think I can go into too many more details about that without violating guidelines, but let's just say, oh my God, we had a good time. And Josh seemed really, really into it. More than a straight guy should be into doing anything with another guy. He literally lasted less than 2 minutes. So the next day I brought him up and I told him I had a really good time. He told me that it was fine. And then he again reiterated that I better not tell any of the other guys. So we just went on with our day and didn't say anything. And then back in school, he was treating me pretty much the same as he did before. He was joking around with me, he was being really nice, but every time I tried to actually hit on him, because I did try, he would shoot me down. But we were never in a one-on-one setting, at night, like we were when we would spend the night together at these tournaments. Josh didn't do sleepovers or anything, but I kind of figured maybe the next time we go on a tournament, something will happen again. So maybe I'll tell you guys a story about the other tournaments in the future, but for now, we're going to leave it at that. If you like my stories, hit follow. There's more to come. I have way too many stories.